Hello friends, today I am making sinfully delicious mocha cream puffs, light, airy cream puffs with a crackly chocolate shell on top, giving way to a luscious mocha cream filling, silky, slightly bitter from espresso, and perfectly balanced with sweetness. This recipe is for a smaller batch, which will give you about 20 to 24 cream puffs depending on how large you pipe your choux. I am starting by making my Craquelin topping. You can use a mixer for this, but I just did it by hand here. Into a small bowl, add 45 grams of unsalted butter, softened, 35 grams of all-purpose flour, 45 grams of brown sugar, and hopefully yours is softer than mine is here, and 10 grams of cocoa powder, sifted. Stir to combine all of your ingredients until you have a homogeneous paste. Put your chocolate mixture between 2 sheets of parchment paper and roll it to about 1/8 of an inch or 3 millimeters in thickness. Transfer your Craquelin dough onto a pan and then place it in your freezer for at least 30 minutes until it is frozen solid. While that is chilling, make your choux pastry. I don't show the full process here, but if you would like to see that, click the link in the screen now to see my other video with more detailed instructions. In my pot, I have my water, butter, flour, salt, and sugar combined and cooked. Then I stir off the heat for a few minutes to cool slightly before gradually incorporating my eggs. Test for proper drop texture. You can also use this little dollop trick to see if the peak tips over just slightly. When your choux is the proper texture, add in 1/4 teaspoon of vanilla extract just to give it a little more flavor. I am using a 1A piping tip here, and this small batch will fit into a 12-inch piping bag. Here's a little trick I like to use for cutting the tips off of my piping bags. I place the piping tip inside the bag as close as it will go to the point, and I use my thumbnail to trace a line in the bag where I want it to be. Then I move the piping tip out of the way, and I have a nifty little guideline that shows me exactly where I want to cut so I don't accidentally cut it too large for my piping tip. I highly recommend using a clip on the end so you don't have to worry about it coming out the back of your bag while you pipe. Pipe little dollops onto a silicone baking mat. Mine were about 1 1/4 to 1 1/2 inches in diameter, and be sure to give them plenty of space because they will puff up quite a bit. Now take your frozen Craquelin and use a round cookie cutter that is about the same size as your dollops to cut out circles. Place 1 circle on the top of each choux dollop and push it down slightly to make sure it will stay put. The Craquelin dough is really difficult to work with if it is warm, so try to work quickly. I also recommend using a small spatula to help you grab them, as using your hands can warm them up surprisingly fast. Bake them at 375 degrees Fahrenheit for 10 minutes, then reduce the heat to 350 degrees Fahrenheit and continue baking for 20 minutes more until the puff pastry is a deep golden color and appears dry. Then turn off your oven, crack the oven door open and allow them to sit for 2 to 5 minutes before removing them to cool completely. They should feel firm and solid and sound hollow when you tap the bottoms. Now for our cream filling. Combine 2 tablespoons of water with 1 teaspoon of gelatin powder in a microwave-safe bowl and allow that to bloom for approximately 10 minutes. After it is bloomed, heat it in the microwave for about 10 seconds until it is melted but not boiling. Set that aside. Then, in the bowl of a stand mixer, combine 1½ cups of heavy cream, 4 tablespoons of powdered sugar, 2 teaspoons of vanilla extract, and 2 tablespoons of sifted cocoa powder, and 1 to 2 teaspoons of instant coffee granules. I would recommend starting with 1 teaspoon and then adding more if you want a stronger flavor. Use a whisk attachment to combine. At this stage, you can taste the mixture to decide if you want to add more coffee granules. Then you can add your slightly cooled gelatin mixture and whisk on high speed until you get medium to stiff peaks. I used a Wilton 230 tip to pipe my filling and an 18-inch piping bag. I had a bit of trouble getting the piping tip to pierce the bottoms, but you can use a knife or other sharp implement to poke holes in the bottoms before you pipe to help with that. Then fill them until you feel the piping bag start to push itself back out. Here you can see I did too much filling, which made this cream puff burst open. Just be sure to pay attention and don't hulk out too much, and you should be able to avoid that. Once they are filled, your cream puffs can be served immediately. You can also store them in an airtight container in the refrigerator for 1 to 2 days, but note that the choux pastry will not be quite as crisp. And there you have it. Light, crisp puff pastry topped with a crunchy chocolate craquelin and filled with a luxurious coffee whipped cream filling. These are so delicious. Coffee and chocolate fans, this is the dessert for you. If you enjoyed what you saw here, hit that like button, and if you would like to see more baking content, be sure to subscribe. Thanks so much for watching, and stay sweet.